All right, everyone. Donald Trump is calling for peace with Iran. I'm going to read a little bit of this verbatim because he's doing exactly the right thing. I'll try to explain exactly why, but first I want to read some of this verbatim. Trump calls for nuclear peace agreement with Iran rather than blowing the country to smithereens. President Donald Trump says rumors of conflict with Iran are greatly exaggerated. Trump made the statement on social media Wednesday morning, reaffirming the U.S. position that Iran can never obtain a nuclear weapon. It comes just one day after Trump met with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu at the White House. This, by the way, is totally a coincidence. I want Iran to be a great and successful country, but one that cannot have a nuclear weapon. Reports that the United States, working in conjunction with Israel, is going to blow Iran into smithereens are greatly exaggerated, Trump wrote. I would much prefer a verified nuclear peace agreement. We've tried this before, so I'll probably have to get into that nuance a little bit, which will let Iran peacefully grow and prosper. We should start working on it immediately and have a big Middle East celebration when it is signed and completed. God bless the Middle East, he added. This is exactly what you want. You have affirmed yourself and asserted yourself, but you're also offering no insult. And you're saying, look, we want to work with you and we have no problem with you. There's no reason for you to develop an atomic weapon. We want you to prosper and be successful. This is the kind of diplomacy that only Donald Trump seems to goddamn understand. We have had successive administrations over and over again that don't fucking understand. The Reagan administration. Okay, the economy was going well, things domestically, generally stateside, they were peaceful, but Ronald Reagan didn't fully comprehend diplomacy in certain parts of the world. He did a little bit better, but not fully. Herbert Walker. What was his idea of diplomacy? Well, kill them all. Well, that's really great now, isn't it? Bill Clinton almost started World War III because he commanded, his general commanded, rather. The person that he delegated to the job commanded his troops to enter an air base that was currently held by the goddamn Russians. That would have been a goddamn problem now, wouldn't it? What was Bush's idea of diplomacy? Kill them all. And he did better than some of the others, ironically. I mean, technically speaking, we won the Iraq War. The government there is stable, I suppose. The Afghan withdrawal, meanwhile, was botched by a later administration, Joe Biden, namely. What was Obama's idea? Here's a red line in the sand. Don't cross it. We'll punish you if you do. Oh, you crossed the red line? Well, here's an embargo. Something like that. Other administrations within generally living memory have been absolutely insane with regards to foreign policy. But Trump is a little bit different. He's a businessman before he's a politician. He's done business in these countries. And so he understands that there's a little bit of nuance. If you're engaging in diplomacy within the US, Canada, Western Europe, places like that, Mexico, then it's very, very jovial. It's just familial. You're all close allies, everything's fine, and so you have a glass of wine or some champagne, and you chuckle about things. That's the way you do it. If you're in Eastern Europe / Russia, it's a little bit more cold. You have to get to know a person first. You can't just show up and be familial. You have to gain that familial sense. You're still going to party it up, but it takes a little more time. If you're in Eastern Asia, for example, you have to be very respectful. You have to bow to tradition. And if you're offered insult, then you respond. Trump did this in North Korea. Otherwise, don't offer insult to anyone. Subcontinental region. Down there, it's also quite jovial. It's more like everything's a spectator event of sorts, if that makes any sense. In Africa, You're going to be expected to do the tribal dance and stuff like that. And there's nothing wrong with that, by the way. It's just a different kind of politics. And you'll probably also have a feast. And don't reject the food because it's probably more delicious than anything that's made in Europe. In Latin America, it's going to be, look at Donald Trump's interactions with Javier Milei, for example. It's going to be kind of politicized, but again, it's basically party time. In the Middle East, and especially North Africa as well, this is the kind of thing that you do. You say, look, I don't have any problem with you, my dude. I want to treat you to a gigantic goddamn feast. We're going to party for days. It sort of harkens to interactions that are more of a familial manner, like imagine like a marriage or something like that, or the birth of a child. The people of the Levant especially, and also into Iran, North Africa, that general region, they tend to party down when something big happens. That's the expectation, is you're going to treat everyone to an enormous amount of food and dancing and song and stuff like that. Trump apparently is aware of this fact. Prior administrations, unfortunately, were not aware of this fact. And I don't have any problem with Iranians. I don't understand why the US government since the 1950s has been fucking with them. It makes absolutely no sense. There's no critical resource in the region that we need, which, we've had oil wars and stuff like that, so that doesn't make sense. If they did develop an atomic weapon, they wouldn't be able to launch it at us, so that doesn't affect us. Basically, the only reason is the obvious one, which I spoke about earlier today. That's the only reason that we have a problem with Iran. And I don't think that it should be a problem. I think that we can make peace with them. Anytime we can make peace with a foreign country, not go to war, not have them go to war with an ally, something like that. Anytime that we can make peace, we should always take the opportunity. It's cheaper, it saves lives, it's more ethical. There's no reason for us to go to war with the Iranians. I'm not a fan of the Iranian government, don't get me wrong. I realize that it's, butt-fuck authoritarian. But that doesn't mean that I have a problem with some random Iranian person on the street. Some random civilian or something like that. They're real people. I mean, why the fuck go to war with the Iranians? It's a waste of time. It's a waste of resources. It's a waste of manpower. It's a waste of their time, manpower, and money as well. It makes absolutely no sense to do so. So I'm opposed to war with Iran. I side completely with Trump with his statement here. He's simply telling them, don't develop nukes, and we're going to leave you alone. That makes sense. I mean, are they a signer of the NPT? I'm not 100% sure, actually. That's about all. Peace out.